we have with us in the Black Gospel Blog virtual interview room Miss Amy Rushes, who just released her 5th CD, Stand Up for Jesus. Hello, Amy Rushes.
Hello, Bob. How's everybody doing?
I think we're doing pretty good. And in Chicago, it's 70 degrees, and that's always a good thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. I know you guys were waiting for this weather.
We were very much. Yes, long winter. Well, before we get into the CD, I want to say that you and I have had a chance to say hello and shake hands and give hugs at various events, but we really have never had a chance like this to just talk.
That's right, we haven't.
So I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity.
My pleasure. Well, Amy, tell us how you got involved in gospel music.
Well, most of the people that are watching this and listening to this know that I got my start in gospel music through Reverend James Cleveland. And it started with a revival that I had gone to. And when it was over, a friend of mine pushed me up to pastor and said, "You got room for one more in your church." And Reverend Cleveland graciously just opened his arms to me. And I became a member of his choir, and he would pick me for special projects. And, I mean, he didn't have to do that. He had some of the best singers in the world in his church. But he picked me to be a part of special things that he did. So I will never forget him, and I will always be grateful to Reverend Cleveland for the seeds that he planted and now are coming to fruition.
When did you decide to make gospel music then your career?
I had been going in and out of gospel music for a lot of years. When I left the church, I was into secular music. You know what I mean? All the clubs, all of that. I had a band. I had, the whole thing. I had a record deal at the time, secular record deal. And as the years went on, I got sick. And I remember I ended up in the hospital. And when God brought me through that, I knew that I had to go back to what I really know and use the gift that he had given me to sing his music. Yeah. And that's what I did, and that was a lot of years ago. This ministry now is about 12 years old officially. And this ministry started after my parents died. And after that happened, I kind of gave up on everything and everyone and really didn't want to be here anymore. Again, landed up in a hospital and just prayed that God would just let me die because I didn't know how I was going to survive the loss of both parents 2 months apart. So it was a really dark time, really tough time, and I didn't think I would survive it. And at that time, I didn't want to pray. I wasn't reading the Word. I wasn't going to church for sure. Wasn't watching Christian television, nothing, just shut down. And in spite of me, God started to restore me, little by little. He restored the song that I thought I had lost, and he gave me an opportunity to go to Pastor John P. Key's church. And he had restored me to a point that I was able to do that. And I remember getting together with Kurt Carr, and I said, "Kurt, okay, I'm going to step out in faith now, but I need a song, to take to that church." And so we put a little song together called "He's All Over Me and He's Keeping Me Alive," which was my testimony.
I was going to say, yeah.
And so I ministered this testimony to the people, and I sung that song. And I remember going back to the hotel room. It was about midnight. I was sitting in the middle of the bed, and all I can say is when they talk about fire, shut up in your bones,
yeah.
It was like that. It was like I knew that I knew that I knew. This is why I did make it. This is why God kept me here. This is what my calling always was. And now is the time that I must do this for real. For real. And I just prayed that God would use me. And that's when this ministry started. And you look and see all the things that God has done since that day.
Yes.
And so what the people that are hearing this need to know is sometimes when we go through the darkest times in our lives, and that we don't really think that we really will come through and that God is finished with us and we're finished, that's when some of the greatest miracles can happen. Sometimes there's got to be a death to be a resurrection. And I didn't know that at the time, but I see now, and I see everything God has done with this ministry, resurrected me, resurrected the dream, resurrected the vision, and brought this ministry to the place that it is now. And as he gives me the strength and the grace to do it, we're just going to keep going.
Well, I remember when you first came out with your first CD,
Yes.
and I know there was Martha Munizzi and yourself and Vicki Yohe. Did you find it difficult as a Caucasian woman to gain initial acceptance in the African American? No, you didn't.
Never. Because see, what people don't know is my first church experience was with Reverend James Cleveland.
Yeah.
And an all African American church. So, and probably the most love I've ever received has been in the African American church. So, it's just a natural fit. It's just a natural fit for me.
Well, and I know you stick to the traditional sound. What is it about traditional gospel that really resonates with you?
Well, because my introduction into real gospel music was through Reverend Cleveland, and that was church. That was traditional music, even though he too was ahead of his time. But he always stuck close to who are we singing about? What are we singing about? All those old hymns, they were always sung in church. And so that's where I got my beginnings, and that's just what resonates with me. Now, on this new project that we're doing, Stand Up for Jesus, we've given you a little bit of everything on this and gone a little contemporary on some contemporary things, some praise and worship things, church things, of course, all of that.
Who are some of the songwriters that you feature on the new project?
When it was time to do this fifth record, I got together with Kurt, and my team was encouraging me. Amy, okay, you're the cover girl, and you do all these cover songs, and that's fine, whatever, but this is the fifth record now, and you got to do something different, something new, and something fresh, and something all you this time. It's got to be original music. And I love that idea. In the beginning, Kurt thought it would be good for me to do these old-time songs and cover them. And then he would take them and just lose his mind on them. Like he always does.
Right, he's a great producer, yes.
Right, and put these great arrangements to these songs. Because his thinking was, you're a brand new artist, nobody knows you, you're coming out now into your purpose, but if you come with all new music, it's going to be harder.
Yes.
You got to give the people something that they can relate to. And so this is why we started to do cover music. And it was great, and I love it, and I love those songs. But now more people know about this ministry, and it's time now. It's time to do something fresh and new, a new sound, an original sound. So what we did is we put out an email blast through Vita Brown, soliciting songwriters from all over the country that we were looking for music for this new project. And they responded. We got over 100 songs came in.
Wow.
From songwriters all over the country. They all just submitted their music. The hardest part about this was there were so many good songs that it was really hard to pick. We narrowed it down to 17, and then we narrowed it down to 10. You asked me, who was the songwriter? The songwriter on my single, King of Glory, is Percy Gray out of Chicago.
Yes, indeed.
Over Chicago, Mass, and Joshua Troop. And he wrote King of Glory for me. And that's our single, and I know a lot of you have heard it now. It's a great praise and worship song.
Yes.
Great for praise teams to learn that song. I just ministered that song on Sunday at my church, which is West Angeles, Church of God in Christ, and that's the first time they've heard it and they really love the song. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, and also curious to know about the prize-winning tickets in the CDs.
Okay, so here is some of the benefits. Let's talk about the benefit of purchasing Stand Up for Jesus. First benefit is 10% of the proceeds of every sale of Stand Up for Jesus goes to save Africa's children. which is an organization that is founded by my bishop, the presiding bishop, Charles E. Blake, which what it does is it blesses those babies in Africa and sends food and medicine and Bibles and helps fund orphanages. So the takeaway is that when you buy the CD, now you will have seed in Africa. And you will reap a harvest from that seed. So that's the first thing. I'm going to make you a sower. If this project is going to be just like in everything that I do, I don't ever want it to be just, I want it to be all inclusive.
Yes.
And I want it to include everybody. And by sowing seed in another place to bless children is a way to do that.
Yeah.
So now you become a part of that. That's the first thing. The second thing is what we're calling a golden ticket giveaway. So there's 3 prizes, and somebody's going to win. If you open your CD and there's a golden ticket, you win the big prize. You win a Mac Air computer. If you see a pink ticket, you will win an iPad Air.
Wow.
If you see a turquoise ticket, you will win an iPad Mini. So somebody's going to be the winner. So it might as well be one of you guys that's listening or reading this.
Yes, indeed.
And so that's awesome. Now, another thing that we have connected with Stand Up for Jesus, this is the first time we've ever done merchandise. Because, Bob, I'm trying to make Stand Up for Jesus something that we're talking about all over the country. For the lack of a better word, almost a movement.
Yeah.
Almost like when everybody was saying, what would Jesus do? And people were wearing bracelets and T-shirts and WWJD, that's what you would see.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that with Stand Up for Jesus because we need to do that. Too many things are slipping through the cracks. Too many atheists are coming to the forefront now, and they're coming with perseverance and power. And they're succeeding in a lot of areas to get God out of everything they can get God out of. And it's time that we as believers will stand up for Jesus in love, saying that we don't want this. We want God in our courthouses. We want to be able to pray in school. We want to be able to put up a nativity in our neighborhoods. If we wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, in the 60s, one woman, just one, only one, was successful in removing prayer out of the schools. And she was successful because not enough people stood up and said, we don't want this. It's time now. I do believe these are the last days. I do believe we're seeing things today that we've never seen before. And it's time. It's time to stand up for Jesus. And so I said all that to say, so we have merchandise. We have merchandise. We have T-shirts. We have tote bags, at least in California. And I know in other states, you no longer get a bag when you go to the market or the drugstore or anywhere else.
That is correct. Yeah, same here in Chicago. Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you have to bring your stuff or give them a dime for a bag that's going to fall apart by the time you get to your car.
Yep.
So we've got tote bags, coffee cups, mugs, and T-shirts. And they all say Stand Up for Jesus. The good thing about that is it's a witnessing tool, especially for the people that are a little shy and maybe need an open door. You don't really have to say anything. If you put the T-shirt on and wear it, you take the tote bag, somebody's going to say to you, where'd you get that? Or, what is that about? And then you can tell them.
And where can our reading and listening audience go to find the merchandise?
Okay, you can go to amyrushes.com. That's where everything is.
Excellent.
The CDs are on sale at your local bookstores. They're at amyrushes.com. They're at Amazon.com, and it's at iTunes as well. But keep in mind, though, the prizes are in the ones that you would get from amyrushes.com, Amazon.com, or in your bookstore.
Right, the hard copy.
You can't get the prizes in a download because there's nothing to put it in.
Exactly.
You need a hard copy of the CD.
Congratulations on the release. I wanted to add a final question. If there was anyone throughout gospel music history that you would have liked to have sung with, who would that have been?
Well, and still is. John P. Key.
Oh, okay.
It still is. I think he's one of the greatest voices in gospel music, male gospel voices.
Yeah. Well, we love you at the Black Gospel blog.
Thank you so, so much. I just really appreciate you and all the work that you're doing and all the opportunity, Bob, that you give us gospel artists.
Thank you for joining us today on the Black Gospel blog.
Thank you, Bob, and God bless you.
And God bless you.